This episode of the Cloud Accounting Podcast is sponsored by LivePlan. Did you know that millions of small businesses use LivePlan products to start their business? Did you know that these small businesses prefer a cloud-based accounting solution 2 times more versus a desktop solution? Did you know that 89% of these small business owners prefer virtual advisory services? Did you know that the number one thing they want from an expert advisor is strategic planning and review? This is even more than general accounting and bookkeeping services. Did you know that LivePlan has an expert advisory directory that you can join to gain access to these millions of small businesses? To learn more about becoming a LivePlan expert advisor, head over to cloudaccountingpodcast.com/LivePlan. That is cloudaccountingpodcast.com/LivePlan. And be sure to check out the LivePlan method to learn how you can grow and scale your advisory business.
Welcome to the Cloud Accounting Podcast. I'm Blake Oliver.
And I'm David Leary, sitting 2 feet away from Blake. We can touch, reach out your hand.
Finally. Oh, the magic.
It's amazing. So instead of being me in the closet, Blake's in my hotel room.
Yeah. At the Hard Rock.
Hard Rock Cafe.
Hard Rock Hotel in San Diego. And we have the San Diego Convention Center. We can see it out the window where Xerocon happened today.
So you're at Xerocon today?
Yeah.
5 hours ago, I think I was still in Salt Lake City at New Heights.
Yeah.
Got on a plane, came here, changed shirts, went to dinner. And then we came here to record another episode of what happened at these 2 conferences.
Yeah, it was a busy day at Xerocon. I'll fill you in, David. Let you know all the details.
Not a lot of news came out of New Heights today. 2 small things. One was an observation I made.
Okay.
Towards the end of the day, I was actually at the airport trying to watch a Facebook Live feed. Rich Priest and Rej did an interview with Joe Woodard, moderated it, but it was all audience questions. Most questions were QuickBooks Live. I interviewed Rich Priest yesterday, which we have to get that episode edited and put out there. Mm-hmm. So there wasn't a lot in that he didn't already say. So if you didn't miss the Facebook Live video, you could just tune into the podcast episode when we drop that. So that was the only kind of newsy thing that happened. But I did make an observation in general. Mm-hmm. People are starting to get frustrated with fetching.
Fetching.
What
do you mean?
So a lot of accountants and bookkeepers, you have your clients, right? Mm-hmm. And when you're trying to fetch things because of 2-factor authentication, banks are changing password procedures, you kind of start to feel incompetent when you go to your small business owner, like, oh, this broke again. I need your password. Can you log in? I need this thing. It's a process that's not in control.
Right.
And they're starting to be like, it's better just to get them to get the paper bank statements and just give me the paper bank statements and I'll scan them and do whatever I need to do with them once I scan them, because I can control the paper process.
So what's the solution to this?
I don't know what the solution is.
Oh, it's just general frustration.
Just generally frustrated with fetching.
Yeah. Well, I feel like that's kind of a unique problem to the US because we have so many banks. So if you are a developer and you are building connections to various banks, you're either doing it yourself, and then as soon as you get to a certain critical mass, they start breaking, and then you are fixing them, and it's constant catch up. Or you're using a third-party provider like a Yodlee, which is what Xero uses to connect to banks.
Yodlee or Plaid. We've talked about Plaid.
Yeah, Plaid. And then it'll take time for them to fix it, and things will break. So it's kind of a uniquely United States problem that we have here with connections breaking all the time.
And I think it's opportunity for banks. And I've said this before, I think Chase is going after, they're doing a 10-year play to win small businesses. Mm-hmm. Right? Chase lets you invite an accountant or bookkeeper as an admin to your account. So if you need to get a check image, the business owner doesn't have to go contact the bank to do something. You can do that on behalf of the account. It's like admin rights, or you're a power user, or whatever you want to call it, to their bank account. And so Chase lets you do that. Chase is working with Intuit to create better bank feeds. And so some banks are figuring out that small business is important. And those are the ones that accountants are just going to. And I talked to bookkeepers today that said they move every client to Chase.
Because of the ease of use.
Ease of use, convenience, it's reliable when it comes to bank feeds, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah. So these smaller banks that are not supporting technology well are going to pay in the long run.
Yeah. So welcome to San Diego, David. Shall I fill you in on day 1 of Xerocon?
Yes, because I did not, on the Twitters, I did not keep track. It was, New Heights is busy.
Yeah.
The sessions start at 7 a.m.
People go.
And then it goes all day. And then there's an after party in the evening. And speaking of after parties, you had different nights. I was at the New Heights party in Salt Lake City. And you went to an exciting party here in San Diego.
Yeah, so I arrived here yesterday afternoon. And I went to the hotel, checked in, dropped my stuff off, and headed right back to the harbor to get on the Gusto yacht.
The Gusto yacht. They own a yacht now?
Well, it might have been oversold slightly. It's more of a boat. But
Okay.
yeah, it was the Gusto cruise around the harbor. It was beautiful. A little overcast, a little chilly, but really fun and great spending time with the folks at Gusto. Went out later to the Practice Ignition party where I think all of the entire conference was at that Volcano Rabbit bar here in...
That does not sound like it ended in a good night at the Volcano Rabbit.
I think it's called Volcano Rabbit. Yeah, unless I'm mistaking. I might not be remembering correctly. But and then got up early for Xerocon. Yeah, for day one. So you can hear it in my voice. It's a little rough after a full day.
Yes.
But I did make it to the 9 a.m. keynote. So I have some updates for you, David. Some new stuff going on with Xero.
And just to let the audience know, like how dedicated we are to you, the listeners. We had dinner and we came into the hotel room to record. It is now 11:04 p.m. and we're recording the podcast for you listeners.
This is dedication right here. So just be thankful you're not reading a press release right now because I'm going to give it to you straight.
Thank you.
David, so you don't have to read those press releases. Here's what happened.
All right.
Xero has announced smarter tools to help accountants and bookkeepers manage their digital practice. The big takeaway from this announcement, Tax Mapper. So now U.S. accountants and bookkeepers will be able to map their accounts to different tax lines on tax forms and export those directly into a format that you can import into your tax software.
Instead of like now, the use case would, or the workflow would be, I have my accounts in my accounting software. I just export some reports out of Xero.
Yeah, you export
I get those
trial balance
to a spreadsheet. I mess around with it, and then I take that, resave it as CSV, and import that into some sort of tax software, CCH Pro Series.
Yes.
I do all that. I just map them inside of Xero, and then
you export.
Okay.
So theoretically, you will not have to do that intermediate step, which can take a lot of time.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is going to make all the desktop people happy. QuickBooks Desktop was doing that like 15 years ago. So it's good to see. Like it makes sense.
Yes.
So it makes sense to just, you map that once. And once you have it mapped, you can just push that through.
Yeah. And then you do it one time and you can do it every year. It's the same.
So this means in theory, if you have clients in Xero, but you're an Intuit Pro Connect user, you kind of have a more efficient use workflow now.
Yeah. Well, and I'm interested to talk to Laurelyn Wilson.
Oh, from a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
Yep.
So she was on the podcast talking about her very, very efficient QBO to Pro Connect workflow. I'm wondering what she thinks about the new Tax Mapper. Would that be enough to get her to make the switch?
That's a good point.
Because it saves her hours and hours every return. This episode of the Cloud Accounting Podcast is sponsored by TOA Global. As you know, most firms struggle with attracting, managing, and retaining staff. And finding staff is getting tougher every day. This is where TOA Global can help. TOA Global is the most professional outsourcing partner to help you build and manage a global accounting team. By building a global team, you'll be able to take away the time-consuming process-oriented work from your local team while building a cost-effective team offshore. As people experts, TOA Global can help you select and develop your best team members easily using their expert ecosystem of people, security, technology, and professional development tools. To learn how to build your world-class team today, head over to cloudaccountingpodcast.com/TOA Global. That is cloudaccountingpodcast.com/TOAGLOBAL. So that was one announcement. The second one, which I am actually even more excited about, and David, you will be excited about as a payments guy because you love fintech, you love payments.
Actually, speaking of payments, let's side note. You know, we've talked about like cash only places, credit card only places. I wound up at a place last night at Salt Lake City that only took cash only, and it was like a time machine a little bit. It's cash only. And then I got to the point where I was like, do I really want a beer? I don't feel like getting money out of the ATM. And so I just chose water the rest of the night. But I thought it was interesting. They have like a cigarette machine, like at the old, remember you were a kid at the bowling alley, the cigarette machines?
Yeah.
And it's cash only. And it costs $10 for a pack of cigarettes. So somebody'd have to put $10 in quarters.
They didn't take dollars. It was all
it's like
if you save up your quarters, you can get that pack of cigarettes. Well, in the payment space, some big news from Xero. They have partnered with Stripe. Like, this is not just one of those press release announcements. There were people from Stripe here at Xerocon today helping out with this announcement. Your Stripe transactions, you will now be able to add your Stripe account as a bank feed in Xero, as a bank account. So This is true fintech here, right? We're not,
Yes.
and it makes sense, right? Because your Stripe account really for many businesses is like a bank account. It carries a balance, right?
Yep.
That gets paid out to you. So you're going to be able to have your Stripe account in Xero as a bank account, and all of those transactions will be imported individually. So all of the deposits, all of the fees, just like it were a bank feed. And people have been doing this as kind of a workaround, like importing their transaction detail into like a fake bank account in order to make this work. So this is fantastic. It's now you're going to be able to do it automatically. And you'll have all the detail about the Stripe transaction in there. The second thing, which is even more exciting, is auto pay.
What does that mean?
So that means you'll be able to set up and receive recurring payments linked to recurring billing in Xero. So let's say, David, I'm selling you something, accounting services on a monthly basis for Sombrero apps. I can set up a recurring invoice in Xero and then automatically charge you every month inside of Xero, not having to use an add-on.
Okay, so I don't have to go out to Stripe's website, because I know Stripe supports like recurring payments or some subscription type payments. I don't have to go to some other website to do this. I just put a checkbox, charge Blake every month $35, and it's going to do that through Stripe, and I have no extra work involved.
Yeah, and none of the credit card data is saved in Xero. It's all tokenized in Stripe, so it's all very secure. You as the client can go and change that yourself, which is, so if your credit card expires, you can go update it. There are plenty of add-ons that solve this challenge for Xero users. But so what I think this is really built for is the business owner, right? And this is Xero's focus on that end user, is that their biggest pain is invoicing and getting paid. And that was clear in some of the stats that Xero shared when they made this announcement, which is that businesses that do not have a Stripe integrated payment system in Xero, they get paid over 2 weeks slower than businesses that are using integrated Xero and Stripe payments.
I think Intuit's had stats similar to that with QuickBooks. Like if you don't have ACH or credit cards enabled, and you don't give payment options when you send an invoice, it takes a long time to get paid.
It takes a long time to get paid. And that 2 weeks of delayed cash flow or more can have a big impact. And most businesses in the United States that fail, it's because of poor cash flow. So this is really a move, I think, to make Xero solve that key pain point for small businesses.
It's a big announcement. Stripe's a huge, a lot. I've always said, like, nobody uses Stripe, but everybody uses Stripe. And this is another example that people will be using Stripe and not knowing they're using Stripe to send out those invoices.
And Craig Walker, who was originally wrote the very first version of Xero, he demonstrated live on stage some of the cool Stripe features that they're building into Xero. One of those is a Bluetooth-enabled payment card reader so that I can actually accept credit card payments in Xero using a linked, like what do you call those? Terminal. Yeah, it's like a one of those terminals that can take like Apple Pay and stuff like that. So I can just like tap my card as a customer, and you as a Xero user can just accept that payment using a Stripe, where formerly you would have had to use some sort of like add-on card reader with your phone, and it wasn't linked to Xero or anything like that. So
did they announce like any is there different rates for this versus typical Stripe rates or other credit card processing type rates? That's
interesting, because no, it's as far as I know, it's the same standard Stripe rate, which is 2.9% on all transactions, which brings up an interesting question that was covered in one of the media panels today that I got to attend, which is the challenge of convincing small businesses to actually take credit cards, right? In a lot of cases, small businesses in the United States don't want to take credit cards because of those transaction fees. So they say, well, if I accept a $100 payment, I'm paying like close to $3 to receive that payment. What we as accountants have to do is help business owners understand that, yes, they're paying a transaction fee, but that the benefits of getting paid faster and not having to deal with paper checks and all of the costs, the hidden costs associated with paper payments, makes it well worth it to accept digital payments and to accept that higher transaction fee.
So last time I was at that bar, because they didn't take credit cards, they 100% lost all my revenue.
Right, exactly. And if they'd sold you one more drink as a result of taking credit card payments,
I'm going to route around for everybody.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, you're known to do that.
Yes.
Right? And
so the
listeners of the podcast should know that if you see David in a bar, he is obligated to buy you a drink.
So $100 bar tab,
Yeah.
the bar would have had to pay $3 in fees. And to save that $3 in fees, I bought zero alcohol and they get zero revenue.
Right, exactly.
They saved their $3.
Logically, it completely makes sense. Every business should be taking credit card payments, digital payments, but they don't because of this loss aversion, right? People don't like losing money. They think that when they take a credit card payment, they're losing money. And actually, a surprising number of accounting firms don't take credit cards. I think it's something like half of accounting firms. Don't quote me on that, but I remember we talked about a stat like this.
Which is okay if you have all your clients set up on ACH and you're automatically debiting their accounts, it's okay. But there's a lot still sending out paper invoices to clients, and the client may pay you 90 days from now.
Yeah, they're waiting 30 days to get paid. And it just makes no sense to be doing that. I mean, when I had my firm, I set everybody up on automatic monthly payments, and that's the way I survived. The amount of capital that you have to basically finance your clients to, loaning them money is just insane. It's interesting because it's not like big news that made the audience just explode in cheers that you see sometimes at conferences when new features are announced. But I think these are really, really good for the end user, which is what's really important in building support for Xero as a platform in the United States, is solving that payments problem. Because that is the biggest challenge for small businesses.
Yep. And I think that's still going to be a debate, like cash versus credit, one versus the other, and we'll see when it stops.
Yeah.
Scaling New Heights, I think I mentioned, sessions start at like 7 a.m. What time do sessions start tomorrow?
I think it's 9 a.m., I hope.
So I get to sleep in like 3 hours. Plus I get a gain an hour because of the time zone change. Like, it's going to be beautiful.
Let's double check that.
Okay.
So Xerocon day 2 schedule kicks off on 9:15. You get an extra 15 minutes, David.
Okay.
But don't miss breakfast.
But I'm also going to do double duty. I'm going to have to watch this Twitter feed for Scaling New Heights, because on that last day of Scaling New Heights, they always announce where the next Scaling New Heights is going to be. So that'll be news we'll have to make sure I pick up tomorrow.
There's actually one more piece of news from Xerocon. And I missed this. I was not in the room when this was announced, if this was announced in a keynote. Apparently... This was
an assignment. What do you mean you weren't in the room?
Well, I'm a busy guy, David. I had to get it. So actually...
all right, now we have a job opening for one field reporter. This episode of the Cloud Accounting Podcast is sponsored by Halon Tax. As a new business owner and first-time business tax filer, I needed a peace of mind knowing that my S-Corp return was done correctly. I signed up for Halon Tax, connected my QuickBooks Online, filled out about 4 fields in a wizard, clarified 2 small items with the Halon Tax team. A few days later, I got a text telling me my return was finished. I launched Halon Tax and e-signed my return. The whole end-to-end process was painless and frankly kind of amazing. Now, Halon Tax is working with bookkeepers and accountants like yourself to offer the same amazing experience to your small business clients. They even have a free offering for a 1-year trial for all your clients. This even includes your own dedicated tax CPA. To learn more about this exciting offer from Halon Tax, head over to cloudaccountingpodcast.com/Halon Tax. That is cloudaccountingpodcast.com/HALONTAX. Oh yeah, and Halon Tax also works great with Xero and Wave too.
So one of the keynote speakers today was Sean Canugo.
Okay.
He's a CPA. I think he calls himself like a disruption strategist. And he gave a keynote.
That's worse than my made-up business title.
What's your made-up business title?
Well, I was a small business ecosystem evangelist.
Well, this is good, right? Disruption strategist. So Sean Canugo, he gave one of the keynote addresses about, it was called Strategy in a World of Disruption. Be bold, be brave, be experimental. Why build a culture of experimentation? Great title. Great keynote. And we connected on, this is the beauty of the internet. We connected on Twitter, sitting like 10 seats away from each other. And so I interviewed him right after his keynote.
Oh,
so exciting. That's why, that was my excuse for not being in the room.
You scored a keynote interview.
So that'll be coming out, and you'll get to hear Sean's take on building a culture of disruption. And I asked him some questions about, if you're an accountant in a more traditional firm, how do you build support for like moving to the cloud, right? Because I know a number of our listeners are having that challenge, right? You might be a staff accountant, a manager in a more traditional firm, just as I was, and you're having a really hard time getting the partners on board with it. And he had some great tips. So I think my favorite was go to work every day and try to get yourself fired.
That's a good one. Yeah.
Well, in a talent shortage type situation, hey, if you by chance succeed, then you'll probably be better off, right? But we'll save that for the
So it's all in the interview you did today.
It's all in the interview
Awesome.
today. Yeah. So the last piece of news I have out of Xerocon is PwC and Xero are partnering up. They have officially created a global collaboration with PwC, allowing local PwC firms around the world to provide quick and easy access for their clients to access the Xero platform. So what does it really mean? Hard to know, because announcements like this happen pretty frequently with the big four.
Yeah, and I've seen a lot of announcements like this for lots of apps, and it's always a struggle because it's a great press release, but the big firms are slow to roll out technology to small businesses.
Yeah.
And so we'll see what happens with that. I mean, you can't say it'll never happen, but historically speaking, a lot of apps have gotten great press releases, and then
Intuit did this sort of thing in the past too. Right?
I've seen other apps, expense apps have done it. I've seen lots of apps that have done this and got the big press release, and they're just slow to roll it out. Versus if you think about the average Xero advisor, or even the pro advisors that are at Scaling New Heights, if they have 60 clients, when they decide they're going to implement an app or roll something out, they roll it out to all 60 clients.
Yeah.
But these big firms, they have thousands of clients, and then they roll it out to 42. and then it loses steam.
So we'll see what happens with that. But that's what I caught. Maybe hopefully I didn't miss anything. If I did, you should let me know. I'm on Twitter at Blake T. Oliver. How about you, David?
I'm on Twitter at David Leary.
It's going to be fun being with you, David, tomorrow at Xerocon Day 2 together.
My first Xerocon. Are they going to put like a little X on my forehead? Is there anything weird like that happens?
I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen, David. You better watch your back. We are going to be interviewing some Xero folks. We've got some high-level people at Xero. High level. I don't want to. It keeps changing. We'll see who actually shows up
before we commit. Yes.
Yeah. But some really good. We're going to ask some tough questions of the Xero leadership team. That'll be really fun, and we're going to try and walk the floor at Xerocon. Right.
Okay.
So we're gonna take our mobile podcast rig. And we'll see if we can go around and meet various folks and just see what happens.
Man on the street.
Man on the street type interviews.
You know what we could do? Yeah. I have an idea. Since it is a summer advising, we'll just ask everybody the same question. What is advisory? We'll get all these crazy answers. It'll be so much fun.
I think we might want to try that.
And then that way we don't get in a conversation with people. We'll just ask them that one question. They get to answer it. See you later. Thank you very much.
I'm looking forward to that. So let's go get some sleep. David, I'll see you in a few hours.
All right. Have a good night, everybody.
All right. Bye.